It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
We are here in slow motion. I'm Jeff Parles.
I'm Alex White. I guess I messed it up by adding my name in our
No, well,
intro.
you didn't mess up anything. I don't know. Very, very interesting. See, there it goes again. Look at that. Look how good it looks. Look how good it looks here on the show. We now know the show twice, Sean. Alex, we have a lot to get to. Lou Finicaro joins us at 9:15. Vinny will be with us at the end of the show. And there was not one, but two closeouts in the NHL last night, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, we have one tonight. We're going to see if we can finally get a Game 7 in round 2 here in the NHL.
I'll give you an interesting stat when we're on the top in the starting five, which will actually swoosh it across the screen, Sean, because we're going to just go right to it. Number one, let's just start out in Louisville, Kentucky, as Xander Schauffele enters the weekend with a one-shot lead over Colin Morikawa. Scotty Scheffler 3 behind, Sahith Theegala 2 behind, and right now is Xander Schauffele, who followed up his 9-under round 1 with a 3-under 68 yesterday, is your betting favorite slightly over Scheffler and then slightly over Morikawa. Right now, plus 225 on Xander, 3-1 on Scotty Scheffler. Of course, had a very interesting day yesterday, as we discussed on the show. And Morikawa sitting at 5-1 right now, Alex.
Didn't affect him much, though, and that just shows you how much respect the books have for Scotty Scheffler and how good he is in golf right now. Number 2, though, we do have a Game 6 in the NBA. Oklahoma City Thunder looking to tie it up, going to Dallas again. The Mavs minus 4.5 total in this one, 209.5.
Dallas looks to join the Celtics as the only team that has advanced into the conference finals in the NBA. Of course, Game 7's coming tomorrow. Don't worry, we will break them both down here on the show today in Denver and in Manhattan. Number 3, go back to Edmonton we go. Vancouver looks to close out Edmonton in this one. The Canucks with a 3-2 series lead. Oilers, nice-sized favorite here tonight. As right now they are sitting at $1.90 now. They were all over the map here. Did open minus 185, got down to minus 185. Now back to minus 190. These have been one-goal games across the board. Stuart Skinner's going to start again. Good luck. If Vancouver advances out of this series, Alex, it will be the first time since the playoff format has expanded in the Stanley Cup playoffs that all 4 division winners will have advanced out of round 1.
That is a great stat.
Or out of round 2, I should say, into the conference finals. So it has been, you and I both know, very rare that regular season chalk plays out in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and we have a legitimate shot of this happening now with Vancouver favored in the series.
Looking forward to getting into that game and giving our thoughts with Skinner making a return for the Oilers.
Good luck.
Number 4 on the list, though. This had to make the top 5 today. WNBA has 4 games on deck. I have a play in at least 3 of them. The big one, though, for me, Atlanta Dream going to Phoenix, opened as a 1-point favorite. All the money on the Dream. We now see them sitting at minus 3. It's also the highest total of the day at 170 here at the South Point. I see some 171s even out there as well.
By the way, real quick, I just want to correct myself on an NHL stat. It would be the first time since 1974 when the format changed to 4 divisions total in the NHL. Still crazy. There was 3 in 2018, which was Vegas's first year, Washington and Tampa. That was one of only 3 other times that 3 had advanced.
Wow.
So would be the first time ever where 4. Hey, we've actually more recently had the worst playoff team from each division make it to the conference finals.
Yes.
And the winner of each division make it to the conference final in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And then number 5 in Baltimore today, the Preakness for the 149th time. Mystic Dan, your betting favorite, with Muth getting scratched earlier in the week. Mystic Dan, of course, winning one of the closest Kentucky Derbies in history just 2 weeks ago. we'll go for the second leg of the Triple Crown in a shorter field as always, Alex. Usually only 7 or 8 horses. Today, with the scratch of Moot, there will be 8 horses in the race at Pimlico later this afternoon.
And you have no faith in Mystic Dan today.
I would fade the favorite. We'll just go with that. I would fade the favorite, but also getting horse racing advice from me is a fool's errand, Alex White. So I would tread very carefully on that. There's your starting 5 here for today. Lou Fittipaldi will join us in 10 minutes. But before we get Lou, let's go to the NBA. Let's go to last night real quick, Alex, where the Knicks, I don't want to say it's the nail in the coffin for the Knicks because they have come through, they have fought through. It doesn't matter how many guys are out. But I don't know if Josh Hart is going to be able to play in Game 7. With whatever abdominal thing he suffered last night, he tried to gut it out, didn't even get through the third quarter. I just, at this point, Alex, by the way, Pacers win comfortably, covered a number. Right now, for Game 7, which is tomorrow afternoon, by the way, we talked about this earlier in the week, wildly quick turnaround for Game 7 like we saw from Game 3 to Game 4, but add a flight into this now. The Knicks are 2 at home. It's the same number as it was for Game 5, which is a little interesting to me. The total's the lowest it's been by a wide margin in this series at 208.5. No shock. We talked about it with Denver and Minnesota yesterday a little bit. But I said 7 games, 7 home team wins. If Hart is big, it plays, but is big time compromised, or if OG Anunoby plays compromised in Game 7, that's going to be a really tall task for the Knicks because they're just, again, running out of bodies even more than they already have.
No, it really is. And Hart means so much to this team. I mean, he has so many rebounds each game, 8, 11, 18, 15 throughout this series. And Vinny talks about it all the time, but it's the cluster of injuries, right, that can mean even more to the betting line. So I would definitely tread lightly and look for news on Josh Hart before betting this. It was a very low possession game, very slow game yesterday, but the total still went over. So I really like this Game 7. Backs against the wall, both teams. Slow it down again. I like this going under. I found a 209.5 earlier this morning, so shop around because it was bouncing up and down from 209, 208.5, 209.5. So find the best number depending on what you like.
Yeah, I just want to find a way to just say, you know what, the Knicks will handle their business to win Game 7 at home. Yes, MSG is somewhat of an equalizer here, but
yeah.
The other thing too, if the Knicks are going to have a shot to upset Boston, just to go forward here, I said if, I'm not saying they have a shot at all. They really needed last night because then they would have gotten 3 days off. Porzingis, as Woj reported yesterday, not going to play Game 1, highly unlikely to play Game 2 with his injury. Steal one in Boston, and then you'd have an opportunity. Now, granted, Boston has gone hey, we're not going to show up in Game 2 route so far through the first 2 series, but even with all the injuries, I think the Knicks are still of a better quality than Cleveland, especially with Cleveland injured and in Miami without Jimmy Butler, obviously. But I don't know. At this point, I think the Pacers might be the team that actually would give Boston the better series just because they have their guys at this rate. I don't think anyone's beating Boston in the Eastern Conference just at this rate, Alex. It's just hard to see Boston not at least getting to the finals. If they lose to the West representative, it is what it is. But it would really be, they're an $8 favorite right now. It would be a big disaster if they didn't.
It was the Knicks, especially fully healthy. That was the team that was going to definitely give Boston the biggest challenge there. But we'll see. I do lean to them at home as well. And like you said, I really want to make a case that they find a way. They're the most physical, toughest team right now in the NBA, but Josh Hart is a huge part of that.
To tonight. Let's go to tonight. We'll get the other Game 7 in a few moments. But Game 6 tonight in Dallas. The Thunder trying to stave off elimination. Already lost Game 5 at home. Dallas kind of on the same sort of path they were in that first series against the Clippers. Erratic in Game 1 and Game 4, winning Game 2 and Game 3, and now winning Game 5. I'm a little surprised at how the market has played this, at least this morning, where we are down to 3.5 in this one. I thought this was going to go back the other way to 4.5. I guess I was wrong. I like Dallas, especially if we're going to have to lay less than 4, which is where we're at right now, Alex.
Professionals love points, Jeff. So
I know
even if
they
it's
do.
just a half a point there, I think they could make a case for value being there, especially now that it's come down to this and their backs against the wall with OKC. I really want to make a case for the Thunder. I did going into Game 5 because they shot so terribly in Game 4 but found a way to win. They were just 7 of 27 from 3. That's 26%, 38% from 2. But they really didn't do much better in Game 5. OKC, 10 of 40, 25% from 3, 43% from 2, so a little bit of an increase there. But the Mavs are just on fire, 40% from three-pointers and 53% from 2s. So if we can make the case, are we going to see a regression for the Mavs in this one? But I don't know. I think they figured some things out, and we said it all along. It's the inexperience for the Thunder.
It's the age-old debate that we had a little bit the other day. Did the Oklahoma City defense crater?
Correct.
Or is Dallas just shooting above their means? If it's point A, then I really like my Dallas position. If it's point B, well, you know what? OKC, more than capable, going on the road and winning a Game 6, which would set up a winner-take-all on Monday in Oklahoma City. Frank will have to be the one who breaks that one down on Monday. So get Frank ready for that one there, Sean. All right, let's go to tomorrow as well now, Alex. The Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. This has been a very weird series. Home team, 2-4. Road to begin this series. Now back in the Mile High City, which was not polite to the Avs all series long, shockingly enough, in the NHL side. But here you are. The Nuggets is 5-point favorites. And Alex, I'm just going to ask you again, kind of like what I said yesterday, how low is this total going to get? It's 198 behind us. The 197s and a halves are starting to appear. The question for me is just how low is it going to go? If you like the total under, you should come to the South Point and take the under 198 right now, because I don't think we're seeing that again.
My dad actually bet under minus 198.5 because you
Great
said
number.
that yesterday.
Great number.
You said, how low is it going to go? It's just going to keep moving. So he was like, all right, I'm getting the best number here. But I agree with you. I mean, we know how these Game 7s go. I think that's the best way to play these. I'm not going to do anything, Jeff. I mean, the T-Wolves plus 1.5 cashed. I have a little bit on the Nuggets plus 375 to win in 7, and I'm just going to stay there. I do think Denver gets it done here. I don't love the 5. If I was playing this game solo, I would take money line.
I like the Nuggets to win. And you just said it at the end there, which is the right way I think, to play this Game 7. Look how low the total is for an NBA game. I'm not really interested in laying 5 in a total sub 200. It would be money line only for me on Denver. Is Minnesota capable of winning this game? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely they are. But let's see which version of Jokic we get, which is such an odd statement to say. But he was no-showed Game 6. He no-showed Game 2. In Game 5, he was MVP, best player in the world, Jokic. I'm just curious to see what type of, and it's so weird to say for a Game 7, but I just want to see what version of we're getting of him, what version of Murray, again, still battling that leg injury he's been battling all postseason. I expect Denver to win, but I'm not laying 5. No way.
I think we'll see MVP Jokic.
I would imagine we will.
Wouldn't you say, prop-wise, taking a little flyer on either superstar between him or Anthony Edwards is probably good? We're going to see the best versions of both of them. I think this is going to be a fantastic game.
Should be. Of the 2 games tomorrow.
Not that we love to push overs. I know that's not what, but I'm just saying those 2 I think are definitely going to show up.
Yeah, no, well, it's interesting because, like, it's Game 7. You expect the best players to play their best in the biggest moments. But then, again, you see 198, which makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. The way the series is played, the way that Minnesota has played defense when they've been right in this series. Again, the totals for the first 4 games of the series all were in the 205 to 208 pocket. But this is going to be a slower possession game. It's Game 7. We know what to expect. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we get back, Lou Finocchiaro will join us next. We have the Eastern Conference Finals set in the NHL. Dallas is awaiting the winner of Vancouver and Edmonton. and also a nice little small UFC package here today as well. We're back with more Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
From the South Point Studio, the perfect blend of sports,
But I think the Niners are going to wear them down. Detroit Pistons lost their 36 games.
comedy,
See over-under on that relationship lasting. I'm going to put mayo in the coffee.
I am beautiful, and a whole lot of Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Join Ryan McCormick,
That's at least 2 picks outside of our own in the first round next year. Oreo.
and host Frank Nicotero.
I look at the clock, I go,
Watch Punchlines live at noon every weekday.
Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one
are going to wear them down. Detroit Pistons lost their 36 games.
Comedy,
See over.
books, 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day.
Sports by the Book. I'm Jeff Parles. Alex White's here as well. And now joining us, one of our favorites, Gamblu on Twitter. Our guy, Lou Finicaro, joins us now. Lou, thanks for being with us this morning.
Having me. We're in a great time of the year. We've got all kinds of playoffs. I don't pay much attention to basketball, but we got hockey playoffs going on. The NFL just had their big schedule announcement as well. The College World Series is on the horizon, and let's not forget there's a UFC card. So I'm as happy as I can be.
It's a great time of year for sure, Lou. And let's start with the game tonight before we go to the series that we already know of in the Eastern Conference. When you were with us earlier in the year, you always talk about having a strong back end in this time of the year. And Vancouver's back end, even being on their third goaltender, has been excellent in this postseason. They stymied Nashville. They've done a good enough job stymieing this elite Edmonton attack. And here you are with Edmonton in a 3-2 hole as a series favorite here, returning home, returning to their original goalie in Skinner as well. What are your thoughts here tonight, and what have you taken away from the first 5 games of this series where Vancouver, seemingly overmatched to some outside eyes, has a 3-2 lead?
Seemingly overmatched, surely overlooked, Jeff, by the bookmakers. I mean, these teams have played 7 times this year. Vancouver's won 5, and they still come tonight, albeit on the road, a plus 170. I take Vancouver getting totally disrespected, and in some of our last visits, I have to raise my hand and say that I was also one that was caught overlooking Vancouver. No longer. That changed a game or two ago, but this Vancouver team is real. Tockett's handling them perfectly, their head coach. They believe. Now, I'm not so sure about the goaltending change, but they don't have me behind the bench. They got Tocchet, and he's been pulling all the right strings so far. I really think there's great opportunity on Vancouver to finish this series tonight.
Let's stay right there in the Western Conference. If Vancouver does advance and they face Dallas, now I know you've liked Dallas the entire season. You have a ticket on them in the West. And Ottinger has been fantastic. Is it going to take Demko coming back to give Vancouver a shot to beat Dallas in the Western Conference Championship?
Boy, Alex, weeks ago I would have said yes, and even then they may not have a chance. But all bets are off now. Vancouver is legitimate, even though they'll be a large underdog, probably 2-1 or better, against Dallas. Should they play Dallas in the Campbell Conference Finals? I refuse to overlook them anymore. They're hard work. They believe, and they have a blue line protecting whatever goaltender they have in there. Now, Ottinger is a guy I've hung my hat on for 2 years in a row, but he seems in each series there's 1.5 games where he's very shaky. So we'll have to monitor that. But I am feeling pretty good with one team in each conference that's already in those final series.
You know, it's just one of these where you look at the Stanley Cup odds right now. Dallas, of course, the favorite to win the Cup because they've advanced, and we don't know the opponent yet. Florida plus 220. Rangers is 3-1. Edmonton 9-1 and Vancouver 10-1. Still at the moment, I would imagine those are actually a little bit flipped at the moment. Lou, just speaking of undervalued, I just want to talk about the Rangers real quick before we go into the series against Florida. With that already said, for a team that won the President's Trophy, I know Shesterkin had a quote unquote down year, but was for the most part tremendous against Carolina, other than Game 5 in that 6-game series win. Doesn't it feel like still the Rangers are a little undervalued? They were dogs basically in every game against Carolina. They were dogs in that series going in. And here they are in the Eastern Conference Finals, probably going to be an underdog again against Florida.
Yeah, they're a plus 120 underdog against Florida in the series. And I do think they're a little undervalued. That said, their Achilles heel all season long has been 5-on-5, and Florida's depth matches up very well in a head-to-head competition between these two. Knowing that I have Florida and Dallas, and I don't want to keep hounding on that, but my approach to this one may not be as much taking the Rangers, but it may be going to the awards market, going to the Conn Smythe and looking at Shesterkin, who's about 5-1 to win the Conn Smythe, because if they are going to get past Florida and any further, it will be Shesterkin standing on his head for the Rangers. And at 5-1, that's the best price with any kind of Ranger correlation to it. And that's where I will probably go as a cover to my Florida bet. And that's where I would suggest others look as well. That's a DraftKings opportunity. I know that's not readily available in Nevada, but it is with many of the people that are tuning in and listening to us now.
I really like that, Lou. I might have to make a little drive. That's a great idea. Looking at these series, I know that you jump in on series prices and stuff. Have you bet them game by game? Because I'm curious on how you attack that, especially like you said, Ottinger, we saw him slip up a couple games. Is it situational? I mean, I think just the best of 7 going game by game is tough for most bettors.
It is, but it presents great opportunity. For instance, Dallas came minus 170 or 160 against Colorado. They lost the first game. Lo and behold, after game 1, they're plus 170. Great opportunity to take them, and they win the series. These 7-game series, the one team is probably not gonna sweep the other. There's gonna be a loss there. So in the case of Florida against the Rangers or Dallas against whomever they play, if one of those chalks, one of those favorites happen to lose the first game and now you can come back on them down 0-1 and get a nice plus price, it's one of my favorite moves to do. And I will say something else. Betting hockey game by game in series, which I've been able to do for years, was really the precursor to teach me how to live bet. Betting hockey game by game via the series is really slow, very slow live betting. And it was a great way for me to learn how to live bet. because you got to be taking the underdog or the unlikely position when you're live betting and hope that you have enough time in your game or in your series to let that mature.
Great breakdown there.
100%. And again, just and let's just go with in-series betting. Forget the in-game for a second here. I mean, if you like Florida, Rangers win game 1 at Madison Square Garden. I mean, you're going to get Florida. That would probably be Rangers would probably be about $1.20 favorites. Florida would flip to about even money. You'd have an opportunity there after one game. Again, similar to what happened with Carolina and the Rangers. I know Carolina didn't get there, but the theory works the same.
It's a great theory, doesn't always work, but each of these teams are going to be white knuckling it. And I sure would be surprised if the series in each division, Campbell or conference, Wales and Campbell, don't go to 6 or 7 games. Hockey is highly competitive and it's very, very random, and that puck can bounce some funny ways.
Lou, let's go to UFC tonight. Very small fight night card here. The main event is Edson Barboza against Lerone Murphy. Barboza is a name that a lot of people who may not even be fight fans are familiar with, fighting in that main event tonight this afternoon.
Yeah, great. It's a great card for me because I study this stuff, but it's populated with very obscure athletes. 11 fights, 14 of the athletes coming in from Brazil. And in this particular fight, you got Barboza, a Brazilian, who's fought the elite in 2 divisions now. He started at 155 this fight, and he fights now at 145. He's taking on Lerone Murphy, who ships in from England. So both these guys traveled. 145ers, Murphy's taking a huge step up in competition. That said, he's 32 and Barboza's 39. Where you can get to Barboza is he can be chinny. However, I see a really competitive fight here, one that more than likely goes to decision. For that reason, I would release over 3.5 minus 150 with some confidence, because I think these two guys are both fast, quick as cats, carry power, but this will be a decision fight in my estimation. Over 3.5 would be my recommendation, Jeff.
Do you have a favorite underdog that you like on this card?
I do, and it's the first fight of the night with 2 strawweight, that's 115-pound ladies, and you have a young gal named Ducote who's a favorite. She started minus 150, and she's ballooned to almost minus 400 now, taking on a young lady from Greece, Vanessa Demopoulos. And this is a fight of 2 evenly matched, very lower rung strawweight women. And each of these ladies can win this fight. Demopoulos should not be such a large underdog. Not only that, Alex, but if you look at the total in this fight, it's a 3-round fight. It's lined 2.5 rounds over minus 500 or so. So these the professionals that make the line, who I always respect, believe this is going to decision. I believe it's going to decision. And so rather than just be happy with Demopoulos plus 320, let's take her via decision at plus 450 or 460. I believe she has a great chance to win this fight, and in fact, via decision.
Lou, before we let you go, the NFL schedule came out earlier this week. Now that the schedules come out, and we talked about this a little bit, probably about a month and a half ago, what starts your process now? We're a few months away from the NFL season starting. Now that you have the actual order of games now, how does your process begin?
That's a great question. My process has begun studying the draft, because I believe teams tell me exactly how they view themselves by what they picked in the draft. I don't do any speculation beforehand. Now I'll have to get down and dirty and dig into the schedule nuances. How many road games? Are they 2 games in a row? How many back-to-back road games does each team have? How does the rest look? And that's a pretty in-depth study that will take me more than likely into early July, because I have College World Series and NHL playoffs. Those get prioritized over the NFL right now. I'm not in a hurry to jump any NFL betting right now unless I'm very, very motivated on some form of negative or an under where an injury or a trade can only help me. Betting anything positive in the NFL right now, I think, is folly, simply because we haven't seen camps, we haven't seen any trades, there's been no injuries through preseason, and I have to wait until the day before the season starts before I bet any positives on the NFL season.
He's Lou Finicaro, of course, Gamblu on Twitter, Gamblu.com. As always, Lou, it is a pleasure to talk to you this morning. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks so much for having me on. Good luck, everybody, with your bets.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Lou.
Lou.
Lou Finicaro, everyone. All right, when we come back, you have thoughts on tonight's game in Edmonton with the Canucks looking to close out the Oilers. And also, Vinny Magliulo joins us in 15 minutes. And so you have WNBA plays on all 4 games today. Look at you. Look at you. All 4.
2-1 so far. I'm going to start tracking. So
100% of the games. That's we call that a parles usually.
Yeah, that's a bad sign.
We'll talk about it next. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style Paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3-2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Welcome back in. I'm Jeff Parles.
I'm Alex White.
Lou Finicaro, thank you for joining us. Sean, great work as always. Drew Dog, how many G's are we up to? 3? When do you get the 4th? You don't? Oh, okay. Next Monday montage is what Drew said in the corner there. Real quick here, Alex, before we get to hockey, because Chris Andrews actually brought in a handwritten note to our guy Sean for today.
Okay.
The biggest bets and bet games movers in baseball today, real quick, starting with the Tigers against
the
Diamondbacks. Jack Flaherty, who's been real good in his beginning of tenure in Detroit, from $1.40 underdog, so that's plus 140 to plus 126 on Detroit. They've been a big mover today. I have no thoughts on that game. Gallen's still the better pitcher overall to me, so I have no thoughts on that game.
It's really tough to bet Arizona right now.
It is.
I mean,
agree.
even when they have the pitching advantage.
The Rays, who had a perfect game into the 8th inning last night with Tyler Alexander, nearly lost the game against Toronto, who, if we're looking for apathetic teams in baseball right now, the Blue Jays and the Mets, I think, are number 1 and number 2 at this rate. And the Reds are not far behind them, even though the Reds beat one in L.A. as a huge underdog on Thursday night. The Blue Jays and the Rays, plus, even though it's gone up here, the Rays at plus 121 right now behind us has been an angle that people, now it's plus 125. So from plus 121 to plus 112, now back up the ladder to plus 125. So that one's been moving all over to join Alex, which means I want nothing to do with it because Kevin Gausman's going for Toronto today.
I do agree with that, though. I do have the Rays a small favorite even on the road.
Oh, okay. So you agree with the initial move, but not the move back up.
Correct, yes.
Okay. And then the last one, up until yesterday, the red-hot Colorado Rockies won 7 in a row. That winning streak was snapped. They send Ty Block. Ty Block is still in the majors? Really? Send Ty Block to the mound this afternoon. And Ty Block's getting bet from plus 170 to plus 160 on Colorado now. Total's also been bet up a half run from 7.5 to 8.
I like that move, too.
On the total?
On the total.
That I agree with. I think
Yes.
the total's the only move that makes any sense, even though Colorado's offense has been, other than the win streak, pretty bad.
Correct.
To be polite. Baseball wise, I don't have the hard card today. I would have the one thing I would have liked is if I didn't have to lay as big of a price on Kansas City as I would have had to. Seth Lugo's been awesome so far this year. That Raggins Lugo 1-2 punch has been great in KC. I wish I didn't have to lay $1.80. If I had to lay $1.65, it would have been an auto, but not a minus 180. I can't do it.
Very interesting. So looking at the betting numbers yesterday, favorites went 11-4.
Woo!
And of those 11 favorites, Jeff, 9 of them covered the run line as well. The Braves were not one of them as a very big favorite. So four dogs cashed. And totals 9-6 to the over, which we had a lot of unders. Now we're just starting to even out a little bit here. But nothing for me on this MLB card either.
Yeah, it's tough to dictate anything for me. Again, hard sport, very hard sport. Even though again the people who do it unbelievably well. And as Chris said to us on multiple occasions, you wouldn't believe how good the handle is on baseball here at the South Point.
Well, and South Point is the best spot to
best,
bet baseball.
Best straddle in the city.
Best straddle, best parking, easy. Just run right here.
Park,
into the sports book.
Walk about 40 yards, not even 50 yards.
And it's free.
That's also important, as we know.
We love that.
Going to hockey real quick, Alex. So Dallas beats Colorado for the third time in Denver in the series to wrap that series up in 6. Weird overtimes last night. Dallas has what looked like to be the winner. They ruled immediately goaltender interference. I thought the call was nonsense. They didn't have enough to overturn it on replay. And then Duchesne, who was involved in the goaltender interference, piles the winner in double overtime. So Dallas, look, credit to the Stars here. Vegas, Colorado is as hard of a 1-2 you have to play in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and they handle their business. Winning 7 against Vegas, winning 6 against Colorado. Now they're going to be a favorite against regardless of whoever comes out of that other series. They would be a relatively significant favorite for a conference final against Vancouver if it is the Canucks. I think they will be a smaller favorite than they should be against Edmonton. I think they should be a big favorite against Edmonton. I think Edmonton matches up horrifically with them. Be interesting to see what that series price ends up being, regardless of who the opponent is, though, Alex.
To add to what you're saying, you're not wrong. That is the toughest, Vegas and then Colorado right there. But this Dallas team has been built so well. I mean, Pete DeBoer is very defensive-minded. You can see that in their numbers and how they keep the goals against down. Ottinger has been phenomenal for them. And then they have the offensive power as well. So it's a very good team. I'm looking forward to it. I would really love to see the Stars in the Stanley Cup.
Stars against either of these teams at this point. I know it would be an amazing story for Canada to finally bust through and win a cup. If it's Vancouver or Edmonton, I like the East side. If it's Dallas, I don't know what I would do. Now, pre-tournament, I have Rangers over Dallas. I went chalk, and it actually has worked out so far. But
that's not true. That was an upset. Rangers over Canes.
No, well, chalk by the seeding.
By the seeding.
Yes. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. You are right. It was not chalked by the betting markets, but it was chalked by the bracketing. But look, I would, Alex, it's just at this point for the Rangers, I'm getting a plus price again against Florida. I'm going to get a plus price against Dallas. I probably just keep running through it like I did with Carolina at this rate on that side. So plus 120 on the Rangers against Florida. I am going to bet the Rangers to win that series against the Panthers. Again, with home ice, I think they're the better team. I think this is actually a little bit of a harder matchup for them than Carolina, because even though I said on multiple occasions that Bobrovsky is inconsistent, he's better than whoever's playing goalie for Carolina, and Florida is stronger on the back end than Carolina was. So it's a little bit of a harder matchup, but I still like the Rangers. And the lose angle was good, too, of taking Shesterkin to win the Conn Smythe right now.
I love that. Yes, I think that is a great angle. It's tough. I think I learned a lot this time around with you being very passionate about the home ice and having that and being situational, because I really just kind of followed my power ratings, had the Canes as the best, and just said, okay, they'll move on. But I think you really do have to take that into consideration. I mean, we know this with all sports, but really looking at this Game 7 series and breaking it down that way. For
tonight, though, $1.85 on Edmonton, total 6, plus 165 on the takeback on Vancouver. Skinner starting again for Edmonton. I would love to take an under in this game, but I just can't do it with Skinner going back in net for Edmonton. I'm kind of surprised they're making the move, personally.
So the last 2 games have gone under that 6.5. Game 4, we had 3-2, and then Game 5, 3-2. So Edmonton has tightened up as a whole defensively, but you're right. I do think this is a big drop-off between Shilos and now going back to Skinner here. But Edmonton, they're still the number 1 power play success in the playoffs. So that's where it comes down to. And I said it the other day, Vancouver has the advantage on 5-5, and Lou said it too, but it just worries me if they get into any trouble getting in the box here. I would say that there's value taking the plus money with the Canucks.
Vancouver looks to wrap it up. And again, it would be the first time since we've had 4 divisions in the NHL that 4 division champions will have advanced to the conference final. We've had 3. We've never had all 4 advance. If Vancouver does it, it will join Dallas, the Rangers, and Florida, who all won their divisions this year. And Vancouver would make it 4 out of 4. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we get back, Vincenzo's in the house. He's going to join us next. And you know what? I'm going to start Vinny off with a boxing question. Yes, boxing. Tell you why when we get back. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rockin' dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grandview Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grandview Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grandview Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Welcome back. I don't know what just happened there. I'm Jeff Miles, Alex White, Sean, Drew Dog, Vinny Maliulo. What? Hello.
What's going on? How's everybody today?
Great.
Jeffrey, Alex, what's happening?
We've got a lot going on today.
Yeah, there's a lot happening.
We got
right?
PGA Championship. We
Yeah.
were talking about the Preakness before we hopped on.
So, Vinny, of course, naturally, I got to ask you about the big boxing match in Saudi Arabia this afternoon, which is we have not talked about at all.
The live boxing match.
Well, we haven't talked about it at all this week, but I mean, it is I know boxing has fallen off, but this is a gigantic matchup between two giants. I didn't say gigantic intentionally, but that was a pretty good pun. Tyson Fury against Alexander Usyk in Saudi Arabia. I mean, this is an unbelievable fight here this afternoon.
It is, and it's basically a pick'em.
Yeah.
I mean, and the fact I think it goes about 2:00 our time, if I'm not mistaken.
It was either 2 or 3.
Something.
Yeah.
So, the fact that it's taking place over there, again, I guess you credit the Saudis. They put up the money. They have it. Like you said, Jeff, it's a competitive matchup, and and the rounds prop tells you that as well. Not just the price, but the rounds prop at 10.5. The over's favored. Basically saying that we don't really expect it to be a quick fight. Although you never know with somebody lands a punch that gets in and does some damage. But the fact of the matter is we got an undisputed heavyweight championship on the line here, and I kind of wish it was here. But I wish all boxing matches were here because we had so many of them for so long, and we still do. But UFC is still first and foremost, I think, when it comes to fight fans. But this is a good one.
Horses today. I know we talked about it a little bit. Yes, Look at that. Look at us. We're going boxing and horses to begin.
Well, why wouldn't we?
Your segment here, Vinny.
You're taking me back to my high school days.
So just again, Mystic Dan's your betting favorite, but the weather is not fully cooperating in Baltimore.
Well, it's not raining right now. There was rain overnight and early. The track is listed as good, and the turf is soft. Probably similar to what Churchill was a couple of weeks ago, by the looks of it. But again, Churchill seals the track very well, and it runs off pretty well. And they're sealing it here too. But look. We do have the one scratch that we mentioned earlier. Who was the favorite? Muth. Bob Baffert's horse was going to run here. Spiked the fever when he did arrive in Maryland earlier in the week. So that horse is scratched. Mystic Dan, the Kentucky Derby winner, is the favorite at 5-2, and you've got 7 other horses trying to go at him. A couple of other Derby horses, Catching Freedom, the 3-horse, finished 4th in the Derby, is in this race, as well as Just Steel, finished 17th in the Derby in that traffic. Just Steel with Joel Rosario at 15-1, and then you do have another Baffert entry, the 9-horse Imagination, winner of the Santa Anita Derby. So. I think there's something there for everybody, but my horses I'm boxing the 3, the 5, so Catching Freedom, Mystic Dan, and 8 Tuscan Road, who finished 3rd in the Louisiana Derby.
So now we're going from boxing to the ponies and now to golf. Because
yes,
you guys do have matchups today, but we've already teed off.
Some matchups are still available.
Still available.
The third round is underway. Look like Rory McIlroy's already bogeyed his first hole of the day. But the leaders will tee off in a little over an hour from a little under an hour from now. Actually.
So we still have time. Any big bets you've noticed so far on certain golfers?
No, just going into the tournament. We had some exposure on. Actually, there was a lot of action on the matchups for the tournament. Okay, and then we put up matchups every day. For the tournament, Rory McIlroy did get quite a bit of attention and wound up going off at like 6-1. He was at 15-1 when we posted this. So Koepka also took some money at 20-1. Max Homa, who I don't know where he is in the standings right now. I don't have it in front of me, but Max Homa drew some money too. So and then. The head-to-heads, like I mentioned. Tiger got bet against Phil Mickelson for the tournament. They took Tiger at plus $1.45.
Well, that was two miscuts.
Yep.
That was two miscuts, and Phil Mickelson was your quote-unquote winner of that matchup.
He was. He was.
Again, Tiger, we kind of talked about this at the Masters, all three of us, when we were on the desk. It's very hard to justify betting any positive Tiger props if they're not at Augusta at this point. Just the course history really benefits Tiger. But this is a course that, scoring's been pretty good, all things considered, this week.
Yeah.
And Tiger really had a tough go of it, and there's no reason, assuming that he does play at Pinehurst next month in the U.S. Open, I would be to miss the cut only at this point for Tiger.
Tiger wagers are more sentimental these days.
Oh, 100%.
30 years ago, the thing about betting on Tiger, or 25 years ago, it was an investment.
Right.
Now it's sentimental. So if somebody, let's say somebody has $100 to bet on the, in this case, the PGA, they'll make some wagers on the futures, and they'll make maybe a one or two head-to-head matchups, bet one of those. And then they'll make a little sentimental play for Tiger. But to your point, Jeff, yes, Tiger draws the most attention at Augusta. And again, that's not really surprising considering his consistent success there earlier on, and he knows the course so well. So, and the fact that it's always there obviously lends some familiarity to it.
Vinny, with all of this going on this weekend, what are you looking forward to the most? Or is it even NBA and NHL playoffs that we haven't even brought up yet?
Yeah, NBA and NHL playoffs. Today we've got the Mavericks, who OKC drew attention today so far. We opened that game 4. It's down to 3.5. I don't think it's a real surprise that the under money showed. So from 210.5 down to 209. Tomorrow, the Nuggets looking to rebound off of, boy, they got throttled the other day, right?
Very much
I think this number is going to continue to rise from 4.5 up to 5. No movement on the total, 198. The Knicks holding steady as 2-point favorites tomorrow in Game 7, and 208.5. So the total came down a point. But I think that game is the Nuggets game. I think is going to continue to rise, and then, of course, NHL. I heard you were talking about the Oilers today. Vancouver drawing some attention here. Opened the Edmonton at 2-1. They're down to 85 now. So I think the goalie switch. Look, this Canucks team just finds a way to get there. And Pettersson has not had a terrific series, right? So the flip flopping in goal with the Oilers, I don't know. And what?
I misspoke. Pickard and Skinner. That's who they're kind of flip flopping from.
I'm not so sure that, and you have to, I guess, credit the Canucks here, but I'm not so sure that Connor McDavid's 100%.
It's more than possible. Again, Vancouver's basically doing the same thing they did to Nashville to Edmonton, where they're just not giving them clean scoring opportunities. And to Seelov's credit, he's played pretty well in this series.
Played good.
Again, I am floored that Edmonton's going back to Skinner tonight. I did not think that was Pickard's fault that they lost Game 5. I'm a little bit shocked that they're making the move back to Skinner, who has been shaky, and that's being very polite to what he has done so far in this postseason. And season on the line, back at home. I mean, 2 nonsense goals quickly for Vancouver. It could be lights out. And with Skinner in net, that's more in play at this point, Alex.
The Canucks finally outshot the Oilers in that one. So,
surprising.
Yeah, it was very surprising.
Vinny.
You did ask me yesterday if you about when week 1 would be up for the NFL.
Do we have them?
We have it.
All right.
Week 1. So, the sequence we talked about what we were doing, and we had put up regular season wins this week. And we've got week 1 and also yes or no to make the playoffs. So, again, every team you can wager on every team to make the playoffs or not. And then week 1 is already up.
So, Vinny, have any of these been hit?
Not just yet. Just a little. I think everybody kind of looking right now. Again, week 1, the highest handle of the regular season, one of the highest handle weeks of the regular season. That's because you have 4 months to book it. So all during the summer, as people visit Las Vegas, they'll come, and when they're here at South Point, they'll take a look at these because they may not be here for week 1. But I think this first, the rest of May and into June, until people, I think that in case there's some more signings, not a whole lot, but I think, mini camps coming up, and then you'll have when teams do get to camp. Once we get to July, then the week 1 will accelerate. But as far so for the next, let's say, month and a half, there'll be more action on the regular season wins and yes or no to make the playoffs than week 1. But week 1 will just continue to increase as the summer goes along.
So all I'll say is just eyeballing the early numbers here and elsewhere. The one number that I was a little surprised that came in at where it is, and this is market wide, not just here, I actually thought Buffalo should have come bigger against Arizona.
Against the Cards, yeah.
I could also be undervaluing Arizona, which is very possible. Or what also could have happened is maybe we get a little reversal from what it's been the last 2 years, where I've thought the books have been overvaluing Buffalo, and now maybe it's going a little bit the other way, where maybe Buffalo's undervalued. It's possible. It's possible. It's in play. Also, Arizona, for being a team that was supposed to be the worst team in NFL history last year, actually wasn't terrible.
They were very competitive. Okay, and they killed a lot of
and knocked out
survivor
a lot of survivor
pools. But I think when you look at the Bills, right, some deletions from last year.
Well, they're replacing their top 2 receivers.
Yep.
I what kind of grade do you give their draft?
Their draft was
average, right?
Yeah, I don't like going too low because we don't know, and I don't like going too high, but nothing stood out.
Nothing, right? So I think it's still a touchdown. They're a 7-point favorite over Arizona, and Arizona, as you mentioned, very competitive last year. They figured to be better this year. 7 points.
It's a lot of points in the National Football League,
especially in week 1.
Yeah.
Remember, there's only the 3 preseason games this year. So teams kind of, September is still. I don't want to quite say that it's an extension of the preseason, but teams are still trying to figure some things out because there's not that much activity by the starters in the preseason. So,
Alex, before we get out of here today, there are 4 WNBA games today, Vinny.
Yes,
4, and Alex has a play on all 4 of them.
All right, Alex.
Well, I don't want to be disappointing, but I found the Aces team total, and it is sitting at 94.
Okay, so we have 3 plays. Okay, all right. Still 75% is good, Alex.
Okay.
Okay, very good. So the Liberty, I am going over their team total. It is sitting at 91. They're hosting the Fever today. We saw them just score 102 on them in Indiana. I mean, this team is elite. They're 1 or 2 in here. So I like over that 91. Aces, I'm going to look for a way to play them. They are an 18.5-point favorite over the Sparks. They are back at home. It is their second game. I expect to see more out of them than we did for the first one. They didn't cover. They won by 8, but to our normal standards of the Aces, that's not quite there. So 18.5-point favorite. I'll see if I can jump in game, get a better number there. Looking at the Chicago Sky and the Dallas Wings, I'm going to go first half points with the Sky here. I'm seeing plus 2.5. The Wings opened as a bigger favorite in the game. Has been money on Chicago here, so I think we're going in the right direction. They covered first quarter and the first half in their first game. The Sky did against Dallas. And then the last game, I did a half a unit play on this one under that 171. Something fishy. I mean, the line, that number is kind of jumped around, going to 170, back up to 171 and a half. But I made it 6 points lower than this, so I'm going to take a shot on that under.
A little more interest in the WNBA this to start the season, which not really unexpected, and not just Caitlin Clark. I mean, a really good rookie class.
You're right,
That's
Vinny.
that's come into. Maybe you can make a case for certainly one of the best rookie classes in the league's history, and the attention that all these ladies got during the college last year. And of course, here with the Aces, I've got to tell you, the WNBA is not disappointed at all.
Well, again, a two-time champion here.
Mm-hmm.
The Liberty, of course, now in the scenario of looking to knock off the Aces at this point. So see how it all plays out. 40-game season, as we know. All right, Vinny, pleasure as always.
Good to be with both
Alex, pleasure as always. It's our Friday.
It is our Friday.
So we'll see you again on Tuesday. Actually, you'll see me on Monday. I'm coming in and doing punchlines on Monday with Frank this week.
Are you?
So, yep.
And we're going to Frank's show tonight. Most of us.
Yes, Frank is performing at Jimmy Kimmel Comedy Club on the Strip tonight. If I believe tickets are still available if you want to go see our guy Frank Nicotero. I don't know if any TVs will be damaged in the process, but we'll see.
He's not allowed to bring any equipment with him. That I know.
No,
he has to. He's got to be hands free.
Fair enough. Vinny, pleasure as always. Alex, thank you. Sean, Drew Dog, thank you. We'll see you again. If you want horse racing chatter tomorrow after the reaction to the Preakness and looking ahead, Ralph Sirocco has you covered tomorrow on Race Day Las Vegas at 7 in the morning. We'll see you then. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.